Hey everyone, Cannibal here. Today I'm going to talk to you about the 10 things I think IGG can do to improve Lords Mobile right now. And listen, these are my opinions only. I realize that everybody's going to have different opinions about what IGG should do. I'm just going to give you mine, and you can decide for yourself whether any of them make sense or not. Let's just go through them. So, first thing, IGG, I think, must recognize that Lords Mobile is the flagship of their product line. There was a recent investor call that IGG did to go over last year's performance, and one of the things I picked up in it was a disturbing kind of, I think it was a bit of a gaffe made by whoever was speaking. Maybe it was a translation problem. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But I want to play a clip for you, and then I want to talk to you about what I think that means. So let's go over the clip now.
In terms of operation, we want to be sound in operation. We want you to be able to see growth. At the same time, we want you to see our profits. So now back to our game's performance. Our old game, Lords Mobile.
Okay, stop. So in this clip, the presenter is talking about the performance of their games. And what he said was that Lords Mobile was the old game, quote unquote old game. Now, I mean, you might think about that as being sort of an innocent, oh well, you know, of course it is the oldest game in our portfolio, but I think that indicates another problem, which is within that company, they're thinking about Lords Mobile as something they should diversify away from, and so they refer to it as the old game. I think that's the wrong way to think about Lords Mobile. Lords Mobile must be considered your flagship product. After all, it represents 60%, 60% of your revenue. Why refer to it as the old game? That's just the wrong way to think about this product in your portfolio. And it speaks to all of the things that you might do to diversify away from it and not invest in it. So I think they're just thinking about this product which they've been immensely successful with in the wrong way. And I really hope that they change the way they feel about Lords Mobile moving forward, and they recognize it as the flagship and something to be protected and grown, and not something to diversify away from. So that's number 10. Number 9. Okay, we're going to get into the very controversial subject of the war bots. Now listen, these things have been around for years now. I'm not going to pretend not to know about them. We're in a situation now where IGG seems to be just either unwilling or unable to get rid of them. Now, if you put yourself in the situation of the typical war guild, I think they feel like they can't be competitive anymore without having one. So you got the situation where as long as they exist, as long as one of these things exists, and as long as other war guilds are using them, all war guilds want to have them because they can't be competitive. So it's kind of all or nothing. Now I feel like the game would be better without these bots, but if you can't get rid of them, which IGG seems to not be able to do, then I think you should just embrace them. And I want to give credit to Worthy Prince for talking about this in one of his videos recently about just integrating that functionality into Lords Mobile, perhaps in the Watchtower. And I think that's a good idea. I think that if you can't get rid of these things, then let's just give that functionality to everyone so that everybody's back on the same playing field, and there's no advantage given to one guild or another, or one player or another. Just give everybody the same sort of functionality. So, I think you should put some restrictions around it. Possibly you could put some additional rules. Maybe you have R4s can only have access to them, or maybe they only can target Castle 25s. And here's another idea. Why not maybe make it a new research tree, so that you can unlock more and more of the functionality as you unlock the tree. So you can have another incentive for somebody to build up their capabilities around this functionality. The game already punishes people who are careless, and the bot just makes that more intense. I think we just have to embrace that as a concept, and let's just go ahead and integrate it in, and let everybody enjoy the same kind of levels of warring that all of these war guilds have been engaged in for years now. Okay, that's my take on that. Now, number 8, royal battles need to be more accessible. So, challenge with all the royal battles, and you look at my account, and some people might think, oh, you got a really strong account, you should be in all of the paladins and barons and royal fighting left and right. And it might shock you to know that I do very, very little, if any, of that stuff most of the time. I'm not involved in those, and the reason is they're too darn expensive for the upper end of spenders. Most of these things are just they're fought by the monsters of the universe, of the Lords Mobile universe, and the rest of us who, if we do participate, we just turn into fillers. Now, I don't mind hanging around and helping fill somebody who's fighting in one of these battles, but it kind of leaves out the large tier of players who really want to participate in that kind of battle without having to compete with the monsters. So, I think what they should do is something similar to what they do with Dragon Arena, and they should break these things into tiers, so that you can have guilds fighting for maybe other kind of titles, Duke or Viscount or whatever, Earl, and when you do that, have the participating guilds only fight in their tier. So you can't have a situation where a monster guild can go up against a smaller guild and just dominate them. And I think that goes for the players as well. I think you shouldn't allow players to move down in tier level, at least without a cool off period, so that you can't get kind of mercenary action going down into one of the other tiers and just ruining it for those guys. But having the Royal Battleground for a lesser title accessible to a wider range of guilds, I think is nothing but a good thing if you can make it happen. So I think they need to do that, and that gives those guilds that normally wouldn't participate a way to gain experience in that sort of gameplay, and maybe later they will participate in barons or something that is full of more of the bigger guys. So I think making that more accessible is something that can be done fairly easily, and something that would benefit the game. Okay, number 7, refreshing the older events. The game is getting old in the tooth, long in the tooth in some of these areas. It just this is a challenge with a lot of game development. Is you put out these things, and then it has its little lifespan, and then it goes into maintenance mode, and they don't put as much effort into kind of keeping it fresh. And I think that's a mistake. I think that there's a limited number of events that are part of the game. Some more important than others. Some come up more often than others, and I think keeping them fresh is something that needs to have some priority. So the first thing I think is Guildfest is just, at this point, it's too long. It's 2 to 3 days is what it should be now, not a whole week. Guildfest just takes up too much of the calendar. There's too many things on the calendar right now, and so in order to spread things out a bit more, I think shortening Guildfest to a 2 or 3 day event, and as you do that, rotate the quests faster, so that help people get through it more quickly, and do all of that, and then also maybe add better rewards to Guildfest. There are rewards there, but they all seem to be sort of a tier of rewards that are that aren't really interesting to more experienced or more mature players in the game. So I think upgrade those, some different kind of ultra rare maybe giveaways in Guildfest, and shorten it. I think the most important thing is let's shorten Guildfest, get it over with in a couple days, and let people get back on with other things they're doing. The Lord's Cup. Lord's Cup is kind of a silly event from day one, but I think there's ways to maybe make it more exciting. I would in addition to sort of just the goals, that the amount of goals that people are able to kick into the forts, I think adding a little bit of gameplay around maybe letting other guilds kick the ball out of play, maybe add temporary goals that kind of pop up in the middle of the kingdom, yeah, kind of like the event where the monsters show up and you go and you hit it, you hunt it. Same sort of thing with the goals. Maybe they just start popping around, and then you can get more points for kicking a ball into one of the temporary goals that start showing up around the kingdom. Just spice it up a little bit, I think. Then exchange extravaganza. So this one, it's just not up to date with the new labyrinth or tycoon concepts. I would add other type of quests like forging quests and other things like that. I think there's ways to spice that up a bit. Thankfully, that's a shorter event. That only that takes a day or two. So that one you can get through quickly. So and maybe there's room. Maybe it just turns into one thing. Maybe Guildfest and Exchange Extravaganza are kind of just one type of event, and you don't need both. And you just do. You can do the 2 or 3 day kind of thing every so often, and you don't need both if they turn out to be very very similar in nature. I mean, the thing about the dynamics of Guildfest, where doing you do the quest or you fail the quest, that's and the failure has more repercussion. I think that's good. It's good gameplay that doesn't exist in Exchange Extravaganza. So yeah, it's something to think about. But in any case, spicing them up a bit, refreshing them, bringing them up to date with the new functionality within the game, and new monsters and ultra rares and all that sort of stuff, and the new tycoon and labyrinth. All that stuff needs to be reviewed and updated in those events. Okay, number 6. Improve this guild expedition. Okay, it's still not ready for prime time, I have to tell you. I think most guilds now are of the same opinion, that and go through a pretty standard kind of strategy with guild expedition, where they go in for the first day, and they get all their points up front, and you can get all all your solo and guild points to get your rewards within a couple hours if you do it right, and then you go away and you come back at the very end, hoping to get enough ground to get you to third place, second place. Um, if you're aggressive, you come in even earlier and you get and you grab as much territory as you can. So, it's not much gameplay in between, and the reason is it doesn't really benefit you to uh, to to be fighting in the middle of that. All you're doing is spending a bunch of resources and speed ups and all of that. So, first thing is this healing cost. I think it has to go to at least 90%, preferably 100%. You should not be losing. You should not be um, spending so much resources to fight this thing. If you want people to come in and really go at it in the expedition, you need to reduce the cost of doing so, because there's just too many forts and too many other guilds that you're fighting all at once, and there's just no way to do that without massive expenditure, and it's just not worth it when you're not getting kills for it, and you're not and there's no incentive at the end really to fight that much. So the prizes at the end aren't really worth it to go ahead and try to get number one place in there. So now, but if you do that, if you reduce the healing costs, and you make it easier to have some fighting going on, then I think what you could do is add a hold time component scoring to the game, so to the guild expedition, where the amount of time you hold a fort, you hold one of the towers, that counts against your score, so that you incentivize people to stay in there and keep holding these things, and hold them for longer, rather than just having them held at the very end. And I think that component will make it more dynamic, and give people incentive to stay in there longer, and try to keep hold of some of these forts. And then I think if you do the first one and the second one, then I think you need to make those final rewards better, to incentivize people to really to get that first place, second place, to move up in that final score. But you need to do the other things, or else that last one won't matter. Like you can make the rewards better, but if you're not reducing the healing costs, and you're not adding some holding time to the scoring, then I think it's not going to help. Okay, number 5, make War of Wonders more fun. Well, I've talked about this before, but I think the guilds that live in the guilds that live in the kingdom should be the ones fighting WoW. So I think we need to, at this point, prevent the mercenaries from interfering with WoW. Now I say that even having friends that are traveling around and fighting WoW, I appreciate how much fun it is for them to do that. And maybe you can do something with the status of the kingdoms to allow for that. I think that's a possibility, but for most kingdoms, I think it's just a nuisance, because what it means is that the big guys of the game are just moving around from kingdom to kingdom and just dominating everybody else, and it just makes it less appealing for the guilds that live in those kingdoms. So a few things that we could do here: you can lock migration during WoW. I think you should do that, and for 2 hours before and after. And the reason for that is we know the way that the mercenaries move around is they'll go from one WoW to another WoW immediately after. So if you So even if they get in, like they go in um, 3 hours before, and they fight WoW in a kingdom, locking them out for 2 hours after means that they can't go and do that for the next kingdom. So I think that would help that would help reduce the problem. You could also do something like putting mandatory times in the guild, so they can't fight in WoW if they haven't been part of that guild for some reasonable amount of time, like for a week or something like that, so that even if they travel to fight in WoW, if they join that guild at the last minute to fight it, they can't because they haven't been in that guild long enough. I think that's another way to stop it. Even if you do that, then I think reducing the troop loss from 60-40 to 80-20, I think this was done in the Royal Battlefield recently as a test, and I think that sort of thing would be good for WoW as well. Reduce the troop loss in WoW. And I think also the other thing that you can do for WoW is a simple thing is offset the WoW timings by 4 to 6 hours in each cycle, so that you prevent a guild from holding um, uh, the base um, just because of the time zone their guild happens to be active in. So you got these. So if you get into one time zone, and then you know that okay, the Asian guilds are always gonna win that because everybody else is asleep. And then if you get another time zone, then okay, well the American guilds will win, or so on. So having moving them around each time kind of spreads out the possibility that you'll get a more diverse set of combat each time, and it might mean that a guild might not keep hold of the of base every time, but I think that's a good thing to just spread it out so that guilds that are in different time zones have a chance at fighting it more often. Okay, so that is number 5. Number 4. Revised Dragon Arena matching formula. Okay, so Dragon Arena, like everything else, Dragon Arena is one of the best events in the game as far as I'm concerned. It's a lot of fun. The game dynamics are good. I'm sure there's other people have ideas about how to make it better. I'm not going to go over much of that right now. What I'm going to talk about is similar to the Mercenaries. What's happening in Dragon Arena is it's being gamed by buses. So I think we've got to get rid of the Dragon Arena buses fighting with normal guilds. Like, I don't care if there are buses, like, let there be buses, but let the buses fight other buses. What I'm against is having a situation where a normal guild that does pretty well within their group, and the matchups normally end up pretty good, some wins, some losses. Every once in a while shows up, and there's a there's a guild with very low cups that happen to be a monster and full of monsters, and that's because they're a bus, and so they're not getting flagged by the system. So guilds that are new, that are showing up with a lot of might shortly before the DA starts, or that have a bunch of might during registration time for Dragon Arena, and gain a bunch of might right around registration time, and then all of those things should be flagged so that we're not sitting there going up against. I think recently what happened to us was we tend to hover between sort of 110 to 120 billion might in our guild, and then if and then we come into, and that's kind of the typical of who we'll come up against in Dragon Arena, and then all of a sudden you come in and there's like 160 billion might guild, and they all look like rally leads, like every one of them. So I mean the matching system should be able to handle that. There's just no way to say, oh well, we can't figure that one out. You've got to be able to handle that. And again, I'm not against buses. Let them fight other buses. Right? Okay. Number 3. I think we need to improve the free-to-play competitiveness, and I guess, and I'll extend free-to-play to mean low spending as well. So not completely no spend, but the competitiveness at the low end of the range in terms of spend. I think we need to do something there. And I think one of the main concepts that we should embrace is that if you are free to play or low spend, that your time that you're in the game grinding should be should be counted toward should be the offset of spending money. So if you grind more, you should get more, and so the people that spend money are the ones that are getting the shortcuts because they're spending the money. But the ones that grind, the ones that really put the effort in, that are loyal players, that come in every day, that are more active than a lot of the pay players, they should get rewarded for their grinding time. And I think that's how we should think about how to be more competitive on the free to play or the low spend. And so it should be easier to get things like the books or the embers or the castle stars, the artifact coins, astrolite. All of that stuff should be easier to get through grinding. So everything we can do to kind of improve that a little bit, I think, maybe improve the drop rates for ultra rares on hunting slightly, or maybe more than slightly, reduce the energy cost on those astrolite monsters. All of that sort of stuff will help foster better free-to-play or low-spend activity. And we want that. We want a thriving community, because the low spenders are the ones that will entice the bigger spenders to be there, because the bigger the community, the more players, the more fun it is because then there's more guilds and there's more players, and that adds to the fun for the people that are spending a lot of money. So we need to remember that it's not just the big spenders that are making the game, it is the community as a whole. Okay, and then helping one of the things that are a lot of free-to-play or low-spend players do is they end up being traps, because they know that it's a way to kind of to play the game without the big spend it takes to get all the stats and everything on the rally lead side. So they end up doing a lot of trapping. So I think we should make it easier for them to trap. And we should do things like making the walls stronger, maybe adding some more research around that. Maybe have a way for them to grind and win temporary gear sets, so they can get kind of a gear set that will expire it could be like an attack stat, but it's a gear set stat, so they can like get a really strong gear set for a very short amount of time, like a few minutes or whatever it is, so that they can trap against these temporary gear sets, something like that will help the traps out a little bit, and then that gives them an incentive to build up the traps, and they'll win some battles with the big guys. Okay, number 2. Here's an idea for a new event. One of the things that's been clear to me for a while is we need a way to kind of test out warring activities and all of that. And one thing that tends to happen at the end of every Dragon Arena is everybody just starts rallying each other because they know they're not going to lose any troops. So there's no downside to doing it. If they get capped, they get their leader back immediately. If they lose troops, they as soon as they leave, they're back. So it's a really great dynamic for like testing out other strategies and different sets and ways of and fighting and all that. So I think what we should do is embrace that option and have like a mosh pit, a battleground mosh pit where you can go in for 1 hour a week or something like that, and you can and it lasts like it lasts for an hour, and your guild can join with you, and you can all fight together as a guild, or like in Call of Duty or something, when you go in, you can have it auto pick your guild with you, and you can fight that way. I think that'd be a great way to kind of get people engaged and learn about what they're capable of on the war side, get more comfortable with rallying and even solo attacks during in a place where they know that they're not going to lose troops or put their investment in troops in danger. So I think that would be a great event to put on the calendar as well. And like I say, I think if you just did like 1 hour a week, it doesn't have to be a big calendar event. It can be something that's that doesn't take too much time off the calendar. Okay, last thing I want to talk about. This is something that I think IGG needs to do and has needed to do for some time. They need to set up a player advisory board. They need to get the kind of feedback I'm giving in this video, but they need to get it from a lot of players out there in the world, more experienced than me, been playing it longer than me, all of that. I think having more players giving feedback like this, telling them what they need to do and giving their opinions is something that I think they desperately need. And they should be looking to recruit a group of experienced players and players with a diverse set of gameplay profiles, like low spend players, mid spend players, high spend, traps, leads, etc. So different ways of playing the game. They need to get a good mix of those players giving them opinions. I think, and for those people on their advisory board, they should expose their ideas for their product roadmap, what things they're thinking about releasing. They should expose that to them and ask them for ideas about, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And take their opinions seriously, because they are the people that are active for hours and hours and hours in your game. They need to get these ideas from, and then. The other thing that they should do is they should set up a submission system, like an idea board or something that, and it doesn't have to be a public for everybody to see. It can just be a form that says, give us your idea for the next the next bit of functionality for the game, and have a way for people just to submit those things, and then they can decide what they bubble up to talk to the advisory board about. So some of the things some of the ideas submitted in the system might be great ideas, and then they want to bring it to the advisory board for discussion. And again, IGG should be in ultimate control of all of this. There's nothing that's taking any control out of their hands. They should just but they should be willing to take this sort of feedback to make their game better, and more importantly, to make their flagship game, Lords Mobile, a better product. So that's it for me. I like I say, these are my opinions and my opinions only. If you agree with them, please do like, subscribe, share, all those things. We appreciate it, and we'll make more videos. Thanks for coming.